As an exchange student, I've come to notice a few differences between the US and the UK since I've arrived nearly 3 months ago, particularly driving. I've come to notice that the way drivers behave in the UK can be quite different than that in the US. I've been licensed to drive since I was 17, and have been on the road daily for nearly 3 years. I've had my share of big cities. I was raised in the Big Apple, after all. And all that driving has not prepared me at all for what was in store in Birmingham. I'm accustomed to cars waiting nicely at street corners while I walk across, or vehicles waiting firmly in place at roundabouts without anyone trying to inch in and cut you off. So, I'm going to try and look inside an English driver's head today and work out why they might choose to drive so aggressively. For example, in my home state of New York, I've noticed that drivers can be easygoing, friendly, and at times passive, whereas here in the West Midlands, I've noticed that drivers can be extremely difficult to deal with, standoffish, and, if I'm being honest, a bit aggressive. And while I can't definitively say why the magnitude of difference is so great, I can help demonstrate a classical game theoretic problem. But first, we need to assume a few things. We give drivers the choice to be either aggressive or passive. Each driver in this scenario is of equal skill and merit, and everyone involved has perfect information. In this example, if we have two drivers and they both choose to be aggressive, they'll each receive a utility bonus of 5. If only one driver chooses to be aggressive, he'll receive a bonus of 15, while the other receives 0. If both drivers choose to be passive, they'll each receive a bonus of 10. In this case, the Nash equilibrium is both drivers showing aggression, as they both rationally want a bonus above 0. This is the classical game known as the prisoner's dilemma. In this game, aggression yields a higher utility bonus than being passive for both drivers, so aggression is both players' strictly dominated action. It's worth noting that drivers could have earned an even greater utility bonus if they both chose to drive passively, but instead they both chose immediate self-interest over that of everyone else, in this case, the other driver. This is known as the tragedy of the commons. The optimal outcome in this situation is if both drivers chose to be passive. Now, while no one can control how one chooses to drive, much stricter consequences can be introduced to ensure drivers are not tempted to be aggressive. For example, larger fines, higher strikes on driver licenses, and curfews if you have already been found to drive aggressively. Furthermore, it's possible that if trust is introduced to this game, and we assume aggression is a sign of mistrust, it could be that the average American has more trust in strangers on the road than that of their British counterparts.